Assalamu alaikum viewers. I am your host Muslim bin Akil with a new episode of The Legal Opinion. Today as guest we have Barrister Khawar Qureshi from the Queen's Council, and today's episode is totally exclusive. Mr. Khawar Qureshi needs no introduction and his name needs no recognition, as he has been representing Pakistan at the International Court of Justice in the case of Kulbhushan Yadav, the spy caught by the Pakistani authorities. And during his visit to Pakistan, we have requested his time to address the legal education over here in Pakistan. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Sir, firstly we would like to know that how was your journey from being a law student to a successful lawyer of international fame?
Thank you very much for asking me to speak to your wider audience. I understand you've got thousands of young lawyers in Pakistan who subscribe to your channel. What you're doing is excellent. The more you spread knowledge, the more you enthuse the young generation to achieve, the more likely it is that they will understand the journey that I've been on. I was very fortunate to do well at university, and then to be offered a pupillage in one of the top chambers in England, whose head was the Vice Chancellor of Oxford University. While I was doing my pupillage, I was also teaching at Cambridge, which meant travelling up to Cambridge on Friday nights and staying there Saturday, coming back on Sunday. Anybody who believes that the life of a lawyer is easy is likely to be shocked. Anything that's worth doing comes through hard work, study, hard work and study, and experience doesn't come overnight. After 28 years in practice, I can look back and identify 70 countries that I've acted for and against, multi-billion-dollar disputes, acting for the Indian government on many cases, now acting for Pakistan, being the only lawyer ever to have acted for India and Pakistan, and now between the two, acting for clients and governments including Russia, the United Kingdom on hundreds of cases as Treasury Counsel. The journey has been a journey that I've enjoyed. It's been a journey full of challenges, because quite often I've done cases at the 11th hour, being brought into a case late afternoon to argue it the next morning in the courts in England, having to fly across the world, as I did in the Yadav case, just to be told, we have an issue, we want you to get on a plane, it's a matter of urgency, will you please come, which is what I did. It's a matter of national interest, and that was enough for me to be persuaded that it was important enough for me to come to Pakistan and then fly to The Hague on the Sunday and then argue the case, having not slept. I'm not complaining, because that's something that has to be done very often. So the message is, if you're prepared to work hard, come to the law. If you're not, go and do something else.
Very well said, sir. Sir, how will you compare the legal education over there in UK to the legal education over here in Pakistan?
I gave a lecture earlier on today at the Lahore High Court Bar Association premises. There's an excellent auditorium there, and I mentioned that we don't have similar facilities for the Bar Council of England and Wales. That's an indication of the potential that you have here. Don't forget that some of the greatest lawyers of the past came from Pakistan. I mentioned one, Sir Zafarullah Khan, the first foreign minister of Pakistan from 1947 to 1954, who'd also been the president of the International Court of Justice from 1970 to 1973. He was a Pakistani. He was educated at King's, but practiced in what was before partition and independence, India, and then subsequently Pakistan. So you have those role models here. You have outstanding judges in the Lahore High Court, in the Supreme Court. In terms of education, the point that I would make from my perspective, having taught at universities in England and elsewhere, is that there must be rigorous quality control. The universities that provide law degrees must be monitored. There must be some threshold that you have to achieve to be able to practice law and to appear before the courts. But from what I understand, that isn't the case in Pakistan at the moment. But if Pakistan is to achieve its objectives, which include long-term security, sustainability, prosperity, the legal system has to be capable of resolving every dispute, not just highly charged political disputes, but also complex commercial disputes and disputes that affect the common man. in a short period of time, not over generations, but in a matter of months, if not weeks. In England, I could go to the lower court on notice of a couple of hours and be in the Court of Appeal within days on a matter that was urgent. That's what needs to happen.
Indeed, sir, Pakistan has been the land of green and has been producing quality lawyers and quality brains who have worked all over the world, including you. What are the necessary steps that should be taken to improve the quality of the legal education over here in Pakistan?
From my experience, it's very easy to allow a system to decline. It can take decades to build up a system, and it can be destroyed within weeks, months, years. I'm not saying the system in Pakistan has been destroyed. However, if you want to make it stronger, these are the steps that you should take. First and foremost, any institution that offers law for study, you should check its quality. What are the teachers like who are teaching O-level, A-level law? Do they actually know the subject themselves? Law schools that are offering law, it's not enough just to say you have an LLB. Is it worth the paper it's printed on? Are they teaching from a standpoint of understanding, of experience? Are the law schools regulated? Do they consistently provide good quality education in addition to taking your fees? Your legal profession, the bar councils, the bar associations, encourage them to do more for you. Those of you who are called to the bar in England have associations here for the Inns of Court, Middle Temple, Lincoln's Inn, Gray's Inn, Inner Temple. I'm a bencher of Middle Temple. I can help any of you that want to create links with the English legal profession to establish those links so that inshallah in time your equivalents in England can come to Pakistan and you can exchange knowledge information. We can have judges, senior barristers coming to Pakistan, giving talks, interacting with you. That's how you can help identify a reference point. The judges, assist the judges in their work. They're overworked. They need support. In Pakistan, as in some other places, adjourning a case is considered to be a victory. It isn't. It's a waste of the court's time, it's a waste of the court's resources, and it's a denial of justice. Don't fall into the trap of believing what other people have told you, namely getting a stay, is enough. It's not a proper use of legal resources. Help to develop a system which is fair, effective, and expeditious, where litigation doesn't take generations, but is achieving finality within a very short period of time, a couple of years maximum.
Very well said. Sir, professional conduct comes from the training things. And how important is to introduce the training programs over here in the legal education in Pakistan?
It's absolutely vital. A web portal like yours, which is providing the young lawyers with some insight through interviews with lawyers, is one very important step, a step that people like myself will encourage, and we will help you in whatever way we can, because ethics, professional conduct, comes from a sense of responsibility, a sense of community. If lawyers don't believe they're responsible for what they do, and if they don't believe they're part of a community, there's no incentive for them to act honorably, act ethically. I have to tell you, in England, we're facing serious problems with regards to ethics. Where you have high value claims, lawyers are taking shortcuts and then trying to blame other people. That long term cannot work. Short term, people may believe they can achieve an objective of billing more money, generating a profile, but sooner or later they'll get caught out. And I would not advise anybody to take those shortcuts. There is no shortcut to success. Success comes from hard work.
Well, sir, we will be moving to our next question, and that is about the vocational training for the bar courses. We would like to know that how bar vocational training courses can be introduced over here in Pakistan, and how important it is for the Pakistani legal system to initiate our own bar practice training programs and the course of the solicitors over here in Pakistan, because we don't have such things over like solicitors over here.
If I had free reign, and I'm speaking from the perspective of not being an office holder, and I'm not here to criticize anybody. You've asked me what I would do, if I was in a position to bring about change, I would definitely introduce a vocational course where there was teaching and examination on questions such as drafting, such as analysis, such as opinion writing, such as advocacy, to be able to help people develop competence in these core skills. Advice. It sounds very simple, but how do you communicate advice? Clearly. Clearly, with a client being able to understand. Advocacy. How do you speak so that you're understood? Opinion writing. How can you write an opinion which is not an entire textbook, so that you can summarize a case? These are the challenges for a lawyer. And a good lawyer will be able to speak concisely and clearly. A bad lawyer, I'm afraid, will not.
So we have been talking about the challenges the lawyers face over here in Pakistan, and what about those people, as you know, that most of the students who are graduating from abroad and are coming back to Pakistan, and we would like to know that how can they be connected to the legal system over there while they're over here in Pakistan, and when they are coming back over here, how do you address that?
There are multiple ways in which you can do that. For example, if you've qualified from a university in England, there are alumni networks. If you're called to the bar in England, you have a link with your inn, whichever inn it is. But let's not distinguish between foreign qualified, those who've done an undergrad or master's abroad, and those in Pakistan, because the fundamental point is they're all ultimately trying to be successful lawyers in Pakistan and contribute to the system. And there's no reason why the brightest and the best can't come from the Pakistani universities. You don't need a foreign qualification to be seen to be an excellent lawyer or an excellent advocate. You need exposure, experience, confidence, and training. That's what you need. The universities need to challenge you. They need to teach you how to think and how to read. Unfortunately, it seems that a lot of lawyers in some jurisdictions believe they don't even have to read. Reading is hard work. How they can hope to practice where they need to explain in simple terms what documents provide for seems difficult to comprehend. But those are the basic skills. And you've got to insist on standards being raised in universities in Pakistan.
Sir, you have practiced all over the world. Can you give us the insight about that? How was your experience while you were practicing in more than 70 countries?
Alhamdulillah, I believe I've been extremely fortunate. Of course, it doesn't come without hard work and sacrifice. Staying awake all night, having to travel, and I suspect not everyone can achieve that, and you have to make some sacrifices. For some people, family life is the first sacrifice, and some people are prepared to do it, some people are not. However, if you enjoy what you do, you will thrive. For me, the best part of the work that I've done is being able to interact with people from all over the world. Clients including foreign governments, Russian government, US government, governments of states in Africa, governments of countries where people would think twice of going, places like Kenya, Uganda, but they would be pleasantly surprised, because the conclusion I've drawn is, frankly, people are the same everywhere. Doesn't matter about the complexion of their skin or their racial origins, the religion that they espouse. We all bleed, we all die, we all want to achieve some fairness in our existence, and it's a great honor to be given the responsibility to act for clients from all over the world, for me at least. And for me, as a lawyer, I can't conceive of a greater compliment to my professionalism than being asked by clients from so many different countries to represent them on matters of importance to them. And that's what I want your viewers to understand, that when they're acting for a client, they're carrying a very heavy responsibility, because the clients, most of them, will not have to deal with litigation and to go to court, if that's what you're doing, if you're a litigation lawyer, on a daily basis. The case that you're dealing with may be the most important case for them. It may have very serious consequences for them. personally, professionally, economically, and you must take it seriously. And that, for me, is the fundamental foundation of the work that I do. My responsibility to my client, whoever the client may be. The importance to ensure that I act in the best interest of the client, and I do the best job I can for the client and walk away from the case knowing that I've done my best, whoever the client may be.
So there can be no bigger compliment. There can be no bigger honor to the stage where you stand today. Sir, how do you see the internship programs for the legal fraternity, the legal students coming up, as Krans Law Chamber has introduced over here in Pakistan?
Thank you for that. It's a necessary element of the education process. Anybody who wants to embark upon a career in the law needs to have some idea what the legal system is about. And they may be frightened off because of misconceptions, misunderstandings, perceptions with regards to how the system operates. I firmly believe that it doesn't matter how bad a system is, wherever it may be, your responsibility is to help it change for the better. And that's what you must always believe. Doesn't matter how negative people are, and the more optimistic you are, the more positive you are, the more challenges you will face, the more pressure you will face. Internships are vital. I encourage others to offer internships, and this is an excellent initiative which I hope other law firms will also emulate, and that there will be a developed program for young lawyers, not just here, but internationally, for internships.
Indeed, sir, change for better is the motto of every person who understands and try to learn anything every day. So we'll be moving to our next round, that is the rapid fire round, and in that round we would be asking questions from your personal life. And the very first question comes to you is, what is your favorite food?
Now here I have to declare an interest. I love sweets, so you put anything in front of me which is sweet, from rasmalai, gulab jamun to barfi, I'll have it. That's one of the benefits of coming to Pakistan regularly for work. I can indulge in my sweets.
Okay, and so what's your favorite movie? Which one is your favorite movie?
A movie that I've watched many, many times. I don't know if any of your colleagues were familiar with it. It's a movie by the name of Lawrence of Arabia, about T.E. Lawrence, whose book, The Seven Pillars of Wisdom, is autobiographical, but it also illustrates how it's possible to face adversity and challenges and to triumph in the face of adversity.
So your favorite car?
There's no singular. I declare an interest in that I've always liked and always had nice cars. So I've always had two-seater cars. And at the moment, my favorite cars are the cars that I've got: Aston Martin and Alfa Romeo sports car.
So your favorite holiday destination?
My favorite country in terms of holiday is a country that I've visited many times. Bearing in mind that I've gone to 70 different countries. The country that I enjoy going to the most is Italy. And anybody who's not been to Italy should go to Italy. It's a country rich in history, culture, with actually many similarities in terms of culture to the culture that you're familiar with. The Italians are very warm people, very passionate people. They have a strong sense of the aesthetic. They will not be happy if somebody puts food in front of them that isn't up to a certain standard. They will be fiercely loyal of their friends and their family. That's a rarity, an increasing rarity in most societies. It's a precious part of Pakistani society, and I hope that when you're pursuing your careers, you won't forget that your value system is a source of strength. The ability to be able to call on your parents, to have your friends around you, is an aspect of your existence which gives you strength. It's not a weakness. There are many people in other parts of the world who pay money for psychotherapists, and your psychotherapists are your parents, your brothers and sisters, and your best friends. But they have nobody to talk to. There are people in England and in America who are dying alone and not being found in their apartments, in their hotel rooms for weeks. God forbid that should happen. So Italy, definitely because of the culture, the history, the environment, the food.
Sir, what message would you like to give to the legal fraternity and the new upcoming law generations of Pakistan?
If the young generation is like you, and I believe they are, and they've studied in the universities in Pakistan, and some of them studied abroad in the States, as opposed to England. If you went to America, well, so be it, but I would have suggested that you come to England and study. There are plenty of excellent universities in England. Anyway, if you went to America, you came back here, you ought to all be working together. Doesn't matter whether you're male or female, whether you studied in England, America, Pakistan, Singapore, Hong Kong, it doesn't make any difference. Ultimately, you're all part of this system. You, and only you, have a responsibility for this system, and you, and only you, will make this a better system by investing in it, by translating your frustration into action, and not allowing those who would try and prevent you from changing the system for the better to succeed. That's my message.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, you have practiced in London, and what are the places you'd like to suggest to the people who have never been there?
Anybody who's never been to London, I strongly recommend, depending on the time of year, take a cruise on the River Thames, start at Embankment, end up in Greenwich, and walk across Waterloo Bridge, especially at sunset. On the left-hand side, if you're walking towards Waterloo, you'll see the city, the new buildings, you'll see St. Paul's Cathedral. On the right-hand side, you'll see Parliament, you'll see Big Ben. It's covered with scaffolding at the moment, but pretty soon it won't be. And that's a really lovely vision at sunset.
Yes, sir. And sir, how do you find the concept of the show Legal Opinion over here in Pakistan?
Excellent idea. And obviously I want to thank you for taking the initiative, for KLC, Legal Opinion, you for taking the time to raise awareness of these issues and share these ideas and this vision with a wider audience. I hope the wider audience will engage. I hope what we've just discussed is of interest to them, and they mustn't hesitate if they want assistance. The website of my chambers, they can email, they can look. We have lots of information on there in different areas, updates on a regular basis. They can email our chief executive. She can put them on the mailing list, and they'll receive this information about English law, international law on a regular basis. So you, all of you, do what is necessary to make your objectives, your ambitions, reality.
Thank you so much, viewers, for watching the show. Today we have discussed the legal education, and we have compared the legal education of Pakistan with the legal education of UK. And we'll be coming up with our new episode the next week. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.